Hi guys, so today I have a review on The Selection by Kiera Cass. I just finished this book up today, which I am so excited about because I absolutely loved it, so I can't wait to share with you all my opinions and review. And it only took me about a day to get through this, which I think is very quick for reading, especially because sometimes I get into lulls with books that I'm not feeling that much. But this book I was captivated with the entire book. I found from the very beginning to the very end that I was very interested in the story and what was going on, and I absolutely loved it. So before I get started with the review, as always, I'm going to start with the cover art. I just think that this is absolutely beautiful. I love the colors of the blue and the dresses that the girls are wearing, and I love the main kind of model girl here on the front. She is a redhead because the main character of the book is a redhead, and I'm a redhead, so naturally I love that. And I just think she looks absolutely stunning, and that it's just so majestic and very appealing. I love the little crown at the bottom. And if you're not familiar with this book, it's kind of been given the analogy of a mixture of The Hunger Games and The Bachelor, which I thought was funny when I first heard it, but when you actually start to read the book and understand it, it is actually like a mixture of The Hunger Games and The Bachelor. So I know that sounds a little strange. I'm personally not a big fan at all of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette shows, but I love this book. So if you don't like those, I would not write this off as being something that you would not enjoy, because I think that it was a really, really great book. I'm going to start off with a little plot summary of this book before I get into the characters. So basically the plot and kind of setting of this book takes place in a country called Ilya, which was once the United States and has now this new country that is based on a caste system of numbers. So it goes from 1 to 8, with the 1s, 2, and 3 castes being the wealthy, kind of very fortunate individuals of society, and then the lowest caste of the 8s to the 4s are kind of the less fortunate individuals that struggle with money and having survival, and they have to work a lot and do specific jobs that have been designated to each of their castes. So their society is based on a lot of rules and regulations and just various things. And then it also has a royal family that is the 1 caste of society. So if you're a 1, you're part of the royal family, and they kind of run the entire country. So they have established a selection process where when they have a prince within the family, they come up with this process where all girls between the ages of 16 and 20 can enter this process where the prince looks for a wife. So they choose 35 girls randomly from the entire entries, and they pick 35 girls to go and live at the palace with the royal family and to get to know the prince and go through this process where he picks and chooses a wife and future princess of Ilya. It starts with the character of America Singer. It is centered from her point of view throughout the entire novel, and it is based on her. So she is a teenager, young adult. Within this, she lives in the 5 caste, or she's part of the 5 caste, which is kind of in the middle. Her family struggles a lot with money and food and getting by, but they still eat and they still have meals and things like that. So they're not as bad off as the 8s and kind of 7 and 6s, but they're still not as high up as the 4 and the 3 and the 2. So they're right in the middle kind of social status. And America has been invited to enter the selection. She's received an invitation because she qualifies age-wise, but she is not interested at all in entering. Her mother is really rooting for her to enter and to join it because she's convinced she's going to go through and win the entire thing. And if she does, her family gets a lot of money from it, and she will become a part of the royal family. But she has no interest in it at all. She thinks it's a disgusting way for the prince to find a wife. She thinks it's unmoral, it's not right. And she also has a secret boyfriend named Aspen. But nobody knows about her relationship with Aspen. It is entirely a secret, and they have gone behind everybody's back and kind of snuck around to be together. And so she has no interest in entering. She's convinced that she's going to marry him. And then he tells her that he thinks she should at least try to enter because he is a 6th caste, so he's a rank below her, and he feels like he cannot live up to provide for her, and that he'll be holding her back at having a shot at doing it if she doesn't. So to appease him, she decides to enter. She's convinced she won't make it. With all of the competition of tons of thousands of girls entering and only 35 being selected, she's convinced there's no way she'll be picked. She won't have to worry about it, so she'll just make everybody happy and enter. And then she ends up being chosen to be one of the 35. So she ends up having to go to the palace and to join the selection process where she meets the prince and all the other girls and kind of has to fight against them to be the wife and future princess of Prince. Maxon, which is the name of the prince. So it has a twist. I really like the novel. It is definitely what people say as a kind of analogy of the Hunger Games and The Bachelor, but it's a little bit of a different kind of twist, and plot environment of them being in the palace is very intriguing. They all are experiencing a new life that they've never been around before, so everything is luxury and the best of the best. They have amazing food and dresses and jewels and all of this stuff that will kind of train them to see what it would be like to be the princess and wife of Prince Maxon. Getting into the characters, I really like the two main characters of this book. So first off, we have America Singer, who is the 5th cast girl. She's just average, nothing special about her. She does not have a very, I guess, spoiled or luxurious upbringing. She's helping to work for her family to make ends meet and for them to get by. And I really like her personality and her attitude, and she definitely goes into the competition kind of dreading it and thinking that it's not right and how could you meet your wife that way, which I kind of agree with because I've never been a huge fan of like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette shows, which I find are slightly similar. I think they're kind of hoaxy and they're not realistic in real life. So I kind of agree with her on that, and I like that she's very spunky and feisty, and I think that her character is very good. I don't know how else to describe her. She's very practical and very kind of guarded when it comes to meeting the royal family and the prince. She's very nervous as to how he would be, and she has kind of these preconceived expectations of how he'll act, and that he'll be very snobby and snooty and stuff. But the prince himself is actually a really interesting and lovable character as well. I find that he is definitely different than America first thought, and a lot different than us as the reader would expect. And I feel like he's kind of been thrown into this world of being the prince and having everything that he wants, but that he's still a normal person and that he still has compassion for people, and he does not judge people on where they come from or what they look like or anything like that. And I feel like he's a pretty nice guy in general. And I really like his character. I think that he's kind of funny too, that they kind of get along well. I would highly recommend it to everybody to read. So I'm trying not to spoil it. I say that in every review, but I really try to give you guys what I think in my review of it without spoiling important details that would give away the novel. It ends and kind of sets up the second book, which is called The Elite. I hope they make a movie on this, and that I should definitely be cast to play America Singer because I'm a redhead, so why not? Okay guys, so that concludes my review for today. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I will talk to you all very soon.